How's it going, everyone? This is Zylia Fox. May I ask you a question? What was your childhood? I mean, you may have those coolest toys, but were you really happy? Sometimes we feel sad, and let me tell you, it's great to feel that way. What's not okay is to let your own demons eat you out. Is it story time? I guess it's story time, guys. Guys, next is story time. Let's get the mate and cookies. Yeah. Years of therapy. Yes, years of therapy is what helped me power through. And a fuck ton of meds. Yay! Hey, it's great to admit you need help sometimes, and let me tell you, it's the first step to getting well. As the title goes, it's totally fine to feel sad. And my question is, what can cause this sadness? There are a shit ton of reasons to feel down, and let me tell you, they are all valid. Let me put it this way. I have never been very fond of my family. During high school, I would see my friends have a great relationship with their parents, and I need to acknowledge the fact that I was kind of frustrated. And it was really saddening to see them live such great lives, and I very much longed to have what they had. During my teenage years, my parents would compare me with my friends and complained that I was not like them, that they wanted to feel proud of their children, and oh my god, that still haunts me to the day. I don't know if you ever lived through something like this, but my family used to be very closed with the outside world. From what I learned is after finishing high school, my mother suffered violence as a very young kid, and rarely would she be allowed to have friends. It's natural she had such behavior when she was a mother then, but it wasn't until I was a grown-up that I understood her. Some of our past traumas will always emerge in daily actions. That's a pretty disheartening reality, but the way to approach each situation is what makes a difference, I believe. As many of you might already know, I'm from Argentina. It's no shocking news that economically speaking, we're all suffering down here. My parents would work 10 to 12 hours a day, and the only time we saw them was at night for dinner and when we could go to bed. Yes, they did that for my sister and I don't complain for their absence. In fact, they worked so fucking hard to give my sister and I the best education and make sure we did not lack anything. I know how to acknowledge effort, and I used to do it back then too, if that's what you're thinking. What I did not like, however, was the way in which my parents would deal with how we would spend our time at home. Let me put it this way. My mother was unlikely very jealous of my grandmother and my great-grand-aunt. She didn't allow me or my sister to go to see them downstairs where they lived. Yes, my house was a two-storage house, and I lived on top of my grandmother's house. Whenever she knew we disobeyed, we were physically punished. The trauma. She hated them visiting us the most. So much so that she would leave kitchen cloths strategically assembled in chairs and doors, and if they were somewhere else or fallen down, God forbid the beater would receive. With the passing of time, my sister and I started isolating naturally. I started to gain more interest in computers and games, and my sister would watch TV all day. I guess this was the first time I firstly saw other stuff, which later on would develop and become a real hobby, very fandom. But unfortunately, with the passing of time as well, my parents discovered that punches and slaps, together with belts and whips, were no longer as effective as before. And one fucking day, I came home with a low grade in school, and right before my mom was about to hit me, she stopped. I will never forget what she said. She told me, if I punch you, you'll suffer now, so from now on, you'll suffer differently. And she just went away. She didn't tell me what it was, but the following day, when she was not home, I tried to connect to my PC, and I was shaken to find out the internet cables and the monitor plug had been removed. I didn't say anything, but my mom, upon arriving, saw the computer chair in a different position. So she came to my room and told me that if I didn't like the new punishments, I should be a better son. Now, let's stop for a minute. Why am I sharing all this crap with you guys? I hate going to the past, but I need to look back in order to contextualize and get a glimpse of what all this was. Let me clear this out. Violence can be expressed in countless of ways. It wasn't until I moved out that I started to live mildly happily. I couldn't even express how difficult it was for me to understand that I was not the problem, and that it was okay if I couldn't be better than what I am. I still believe I am not a good match, for example, and that I don't deserve nearly half the things I have achieved. But I believe the shift from physical to psychological violence was a bit too strong, and unfortunately, I believe it lived through the years, and sometimes it chases me back. Yes, it does sound as if I was crying over my issues, but do believe me when I say I don't want to set a whole victim picture or anything of the sort. All I intend with this video is to show how I felt back then, and how that in a way helped me understand the person I am now. Or the fox I am now? Yep. This, I see it as a way to finally get rid of those awful feelings and also pose an idea. What is the idea I'm talking about, you might be wondering? Well, here goes nothing. I believe that people act as they do thanks to their own life stories. By no means am I justifying what my parents did, but I do understand and therefore forgive what happened. I know the time passed and those years are never coming back, but if I never move on, I will be stuck forever in a pit of sorrow, and I'm afraid I will drag my loved ones there with me as well. That's why I'm in a way forcing me to reflect upon this and finally put an end, or at least keep my sorrow on hiatus to maybe understand later on why I sometimes believe I don't deserve shit. Though this video might be a coming of age message for me, it should also serve as a small guide for you too, guys. People are mean, that's for sure, but we can take a minute to sit down and think what their lives have been like, and thus understand that might be the fuel behind such acts. Human malice is everywhere, from people abusing animals, violence online, to even symbolic ways of expressing differences, which might also emphasize that we are still not getting rid of our own perceptions of good and bad. But we can try, and with little effort every day, we can make this world a better place. I hope you guys have enjoyed this slice of life story I brought today. I know this is not the mood of my channel, but I felt this was worth sharing with you, my loving community. Remember, you can support my channel by liking and subscribing, because we've been growing a lot lately. So there's only one thing I want to say to you guys, and that is thank you for all the support you've given to me. I love you guys. I cannot thank you guys enough. So I hope to see you in the next video, guys. So take care and meow.